and Greta is a teacher at North High School, Math Science, and one of the Inspire teachers. And Greta's presentation is Making Math Awesome! Greta says awesome a lot. Making math awesome for every student, leveraging technology for a proficiency-based, balanced curriculum. Go.
Not everyone loves math as much as I do. You maybe have seen some responses in a math class about, oh, when am I ever going to use this? Or, math makes me cry. So my effort when I got into Inspire was trying to figure out how to redesign math in a way that's going to be able to help to support our students and make them appreciate math the way that I do. So to start with, I always like talking about my core beliefs. As what do I believe as an educator, and how does that start to frame what I do in my classroom? So the first is my core belief that I believe student-centered learning and achievement as the constant and time and place as a variable. And in addition to that, my second core belief follows that each student can learn and each student will learn. And then my third core belief is that math is awesome, especially when you get to go and see it in the real world and the beautiful ways in which math connects to our lives. So I want to share a little bit about Math the Inspire Way. How can we get students to be engaged and excited about math, and also ensure that we are meeting them where they are? So the first piece of the math curriculum that I've tried to develop is this idea of a balanced math curriculum that involves procedural skills, which is where we tend to have a lot of our time and energy in traditional math class placed, but also incorporating in communication skills, application, and modeling. In addition, I talk about the idea of proficiency-based. So when we talk with our students, and I kind of talk about why we do this, a lot of times I'll go and ask them, have you ever been in a class where you were like bored out of your mind because you learned this in 3rd grade and you're in high school and oh my goodness, this is so boring, I already know this, I could teach this? Or have you been on the flip side where the material is going so fast, it's like the teacher's speaking in a foreign language and you just need them to slow down? And the idea of proficiency-based is how can we find an opportunity to go and find the right pace for all of our students? I call this a toll booth analysis, that students are able to move forward through that toll booth area based on what they know and where they need support. Some students might be able to have the easy pass because they already know the material, they can zoom through. Others might need to slow down, go to the cash booth, and go and pay and get the support that they need, and then move on. And others maybe are fumbling a little bit for the cash, they can't find their coins, it might take a little bit more time. They might need a little bit more help before they move forward. But we all know that we're all going to end up in Chicago in the end, and we together are going to ensure that everyone is on board for making that happen. So this is where leveraging technology is really critical for this. So students know right away what their expectations are going to be for that chapter, what they need to do, and the process that they're going to be using to get to that point. This involves pre-assessments, where are they currently? It involves using and leveraging technology for some of those procedural skills. And then also having modeling activities, which I can go into in a little bit. All of this wraps up then with a summative assessment that not only includes a traditional paper pencil test, but also an application component. So from a procedural standpoint, we use a program called Accelis. Accelis allows students to watch videos, to have formative practice, to get support, get help, and then they're able to get that instantaneous feedback, which then allows them to learn the material. That we don't need to all teach that at the same time in the class together, but instead allowing students to work on their Accelis work at school, maybe in the evenings, maybe on the weekends, and everyone does it in a different way based on their interests. We also use 10 marks as a way to be able to allow students to have the challenging questions and the support that they need. Now, I'm a total physics kid. I love math, I love applying math. So when it comes to this idea of developing ideas and concepts, I also incorporate in ways in which students can develop their own understanding. So these are the modeling activities. So for example, up on the screen, there's a buggy. I'll grab it later, but it's a little buggy that goes on the ground, and students are able to collect data, graph it, make meaning out of slope and y-intercepts, and start to really be able to engage the material in a meaningful way. So everybody's at different places. Some students are maybe a little bit off pace, some are ahead of pace, some are on pace. So the really critical piece in allowing this to happen and really be able to pull off in a meaningful way is conferencing. So we have weekly conferences with each of the students, and we do a progress check, We set goals for that week, and then we look at individualizing their learning plan so that they can be successful for that week and get back on track. In addition, there's so much more. I could talk about this for hours and hours, but the idea though is that with this teacher instruction, by kind of allowing the students to be using technology to learn some of the procedural skills, I'm able to go and use my time with small groups, one-on-one, to support our students where they are. Also, we use portfolios, and there's applications, and all these other fun and exciting things. But the really cool thing is I get to spend time actually talking about math with a student where they are. And we also use this time, this opportunity for me to have my time freed up a little bit, by looking at application activities that are timely and relevant to students. So even though students are at different points in the spectrum as far as their learning, we talk about things that are meaningful for them at that time, like the Powerball. What are the odds of winning $1.5 billion? Would you want to take that risk? We go through it, we talk about it, and it provides a really great way for students to see the actual really cool, meaningful ways in which math applies to real life. So my challenge for you is, how can you use conferencing in your classroom? How can you create a proficiency-based system? How could you maybe create personalized pathways? And lastly, how can you make your classroom awesome? Thank you.